The campaign season is here, and your vote can make a difference. Comcast brings you the candidates on demand right now.
I'm Jill Horner, and this is Candidates on Demand. With me is Kenneth Kaplan. He's the Libertarian Party candidate for the United States Senate for New Jersey. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
Talk to us a little bit about your background.
Well, born and raised in New Jersey. I was born in Newark Beth Israel Hospital. Spent the first 6 years of my life in Newark. We moved to West Orange, which is where I grew up. And they let me out of the state to go to college and law school, but I came back.
Now, you are running for United States Senate.
Yes.
Talk to us about this run and why you're running as the Libertarian candidate.
Well, Libertarians are very different than Democrats or Republicans. You might best define us probably as being socially tolerant and fiscally conservative. So on some issues, we probably agree more with the Republicans on fiscal issues, and other issues we probably agree more with the Democrats. But we tend to go farther than both because we are the party of individual liberty, whether it's in your economic life or your personal life.
Now, you say that limited government is one of the tenets upon which you are running. Talk to us about that and what that actually means to you as a candidate.
Well, as a candidate for Senate, it means observing the Constitution. And our Constitution is very explicit about what things the government is supposed to do, the federal government is supposed to do. It's supposed to provide for national defense. It's supposed to provide a judiciary. It's supposed to take care of certain things that are specified in the Constitution. What's not specified in the Constitution is left to the states and individuals. And over the years, Washington has usurped a lot of power that should belong to the states and individuals. And as a Libertarian candidate for the Senate, I'm fighting to get that power back to the individuals.
So what would that mean if elected? If you, as a Libertarian, were elected to the Senate, you would be the only Libertarian senator at a federal level. What would that mean in terms of working with Democratic or Republican colleagues in working to potentially change the way in which the system worked?
Well, I would point out what I think is the right thing to do, using the Constitution as the blueprint. Our founding fathers were very wise. They came up with this great document. They realized it wasn't complete. They added the Bill of Rights, which are very important. And I would try to get my colleagues, Democratic and Republican, to toe the line as far as following the Constitution and cutting back. You know, when you have cradle to grave services from the government, it's also a certain amount of slavery. There's always strings attached to everything you get from the government. And also the government gives you a lot of stuff that you don't want. We would never trust the government to do our food shopping because they might come back with roast beef and you're a vegan, or they might come back with broccoli and you hate broccoli, okay? We want to do it ourselves, and that's what I want to do. I want to give people more of the opportunity to have more of their hard-earned money to be able to spend it the way they want, on things that they want, and live their lives the way they want. As long as they don't violate the rights of their neighbors, that's where we draw the line. That's where government comes in, to protect individuals from other people violating their rights.
You also want to focus on some of the ideas of past politicians who were not libertarians, who were a Democrat and a Republican, and actually put these ideas into play today.
Well, as I was a kid growing up, I was inspired by John Kennedy, who wrote a book called Profiles in Courage, about politicians who did what they believe was the right thing, even if it wasn't the popular thing. And I also read a book by Barry Goldwater, Conscience of a Conservative. And you don't hear enough about conscience and courage these days in politics. And I would try to bring those elements back into politics if I represented the people of New Jersey in the Senate.
Now, you're running as a Libertarian, and many people may think, I'm not voting for a Democrat, I'm not voting for a Republican. By voting for a Libertarian or another third-party candidate, what does my vote actually mean?
Well, it means a lot. I would ask people to search their minds and think if their lives were really very different over the years, no matter who was president or no matter who was senator. Because the Democrats and Republicans are both very close to each other. I mean, the major differences are the interest groups that they favor. Each one has their own interest groups that are kind of in their pocket, whose legislative goals they kind of favor. And, I'm different than that. I would represent the people.
And we just have a short time left, and you're asking people to vote for you in this election. Why should they do that?
Okay, well, the only way we're going to get the Democrats and Republicans to change the way they do business is to vote for third parties. And whether or not I'm elected this time, it will send a message for the future.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Kenneth Kaplan. I'm Jill Horner.